At the airport, the agent said, "Your ticket was canceled this morning." Looked up. My family was already boarding. No one looked back. That night I texted, "You should be ready for what happens next." When they landed, their phones lit up. And they started screaming. At the airport gate, the agent didn't even flinch when she said it. "Your ticket was canceled this morning." I looked up slowly, confused, thinking she meant someone else's name. But she tapped the screen again and said it louder. "Canceled." No seat. No boarding pass. No explanation. Just past the gate doors, my mom, stepdad, and 2 sisters were already boarding the plane. I saw them walking down the jet bridge. They didn't look back. Not once. I called out after them. Nothing. I checked my phone. No missed calls. No messages. Just a quiet clock showing 9:53 a.m., and a flight scheduled to take off in 37 minutes. With 4 family members on board. And me standing alone at the gate like a stranger. I told the agent there had to be a mistake. I said I paid for the ticket. She checked again. Said the booking showed my name originally, Mariana Sandoval, but the reservation was changed manually at 5:26 a.m. This wasn't some random error. Someone went in and removed me. On purpose. I stepped aside and pulled up the confirmation email from last month. There was 5 tickets. My name, middle seat and all. I remembered sending my stepdad the money, $1,120 I'd saved up over 6 months working part-time while finishing my sophomore year. I skipped parties. I sold old clothes. I didn't eat out for 2 months just to be able to go on this trip. He said he'd book everything for the family. Flights, hotel excursions. I trusted him. I actually trusted all of them. I stood there while the final boarding call echoed over the intercom, watching people disappear into the tunnel that should have led to my first real vacation. I watched my entire family leave me behind like it was nothing. I waited until the flight status flipped to departed, and then I sat down in the airport cafe staring at the wall. My phone didn't light up. No one called to ask where I was. No one checked if I was okay. I texted once just to see. Nothing. Then I logged into the airline's website using the confirmation number. The booking showed 4 active passengers. I was gone from the list. Cancelled. Not by accident. Not by system error. Deleted. The silence became its own kind of answer. They did it on purpose. I stared at the screen. My coffee went cold. Then I opened the family group chat and sent one message. "You should be ready for what happens next." Then I started undoing everything. Starting with the hotel. I had the reservation number. Half of it was under my card. I called and canceled the entire stay. Then I called the airport shuttle service. Cancelled. Then the excursion company, snorkeling, island tours, dinner cruise. All of it. Gone. They'd land in a few hours, expecting a luxury resort and a full itinerary waiting for them. Instead, they'd be standing at the arrivals curb with nothing. They took my seat. I took the ground out from under them. And I wasn't done yet. By the time their plane landed, everything was already gone. I sat on my bed in my apartment, legs crossed, laptop open, watching the seconds tick by. I had the hotel's cancellation confirmation pulled up on one tab, the excursion refund receipts on another. Every number lined up. Every charge reversed. I didn't leave a single detail untouched. At 4:22 p.m., the family group chat lit up. "Where's the shuttle? What hotel are we supposed to go to? Mariana, are you there?" I didn't answer. I let them sweat for 20 minutes before I typed one line. "Try the hostel on 3rd Avenue. You'll fit in perfectly there." Then I muted the chat. It took 3 more minutes for my phone to start ringing. First my mom. Then my stepdad. Then back-to-back calls from my younger sister. I didn't pick up. I didn't need to. I already knew what they were realizing. They had nothing. They'd used my money to book a 5-star vacation. Flights, hotel, food, tours, airport transfers. All of it funded half by me. And now, because they thought I was too selfish, or difficult, or whatever excuse they gave themselves when they deleted my ticket, they were standing in a foreign country with no hotel, no shuttle, and no idea how much things really cost without me paying for it. I turned my phone off again. Then I called Jess. She didn't even let me finish explaining before she said, "Tell me where and when." By the next morning we were boarding a flight to a different resort on a different island with a better beach and a better view. I rebooked everything. This time in my name only. 2 travelers. Not 5. I didn't tell my family where we were going. I didn't respond to their second wave of texts or their new tone. Suddenly friendly, suddenly innocent, like maybe this was all one big misunderstanding. As if I'd imagined it. As if I'd overreacted. They were still stuck at the airport hotel when I posted the first photo. Me and Jess on the beach, sunglasses on, cocktail in hand. Sun bright, ocean perfect. The caption said, "How's your vacation? I hope it's worse than mine." Then I turned off commenting. They blew up the chat. The rage didn't even feel real. They called me cruel. Said I overreacted. Said I was being dramatic. They blamed each other. My mom said she had no idea. My stepdad claimed the airline must have messed up. My sisters kept texting that they were tired and hungry and couldn't find Wi-Fi in the hostel. I read every message while sipping cold drinks in the pool. Not once did any of them apologize. They just wanted me to fix it. They assumed I still would. But that version of me, the one who paid, who forgave, who stayed quiet when it hurt, I left her behind at the airport. By the second night they were begging. The hostel they found had no AC and barely functioning plumbing. The bathroom light kept flickering. My youngest sister texted that something crawled across her foot in the middle of the night. My stepdad was furious they had to take taxis everywhere because the shuttle was never rebooked. And the only food nearby was a dusty convenience store and some random fried chicken place that gave my mom food poisoning. Meanwhile, I was having breakfast on a balcony with an ocean view, a breeze in my hair and zero intentions of replying. They tried everything. Guilt, denial, manipulation, all of it. My mom sent long messages about how stressful things had been lately. She said she didn't want drama to ruin the trip. Like I was the one who caused it. My stepdad sent me a literal screenshot of his bank account and said he couldn't afford to rebook a new hotel without help. Help. That's what they always wanted. That's all I ever was to them. The reliable one. The fixer. The one who handled things. They never saw how exhausting it was to always be the one trying to keep peace in a house that never offered it back. I didn't respond. Instead, I posted a video of me and Jess parasailing over crystal clear water. No caption. Just blue sky and laughter. A minute later, I saw someone in the group chat leave. Then come back. Then leave again. Probably my stepdad, fuming with that control freak rage he used to hide better. I imagined them in the dark little hostel room, sweating, stuck, fighting with each other, blaming everyone but themselves. They still didn't understand. They thought this was petty. That I'd cool off. That eventually I'd give in. They didn't know me at all. Not the me I became after watching them walk away without a single glance back. After realizing my name had been deleted like I didn't matter. After seeing how easily they excluded me from something I paid for. Not because they forgot. Because they wanted to. It wasn't just a vacation. It was the reminder I needed that I wasn't part of their family in the way I'd always hoped. That no amount of effort or money or patience was going to fix something that had been broken for years. On day 3 they started calling from new numbers. Burner SIMs. They were desperate. One message from my mom actually said, "Please just book us a flight home. We'll pay you back when we get back. We're stuck here. We can't afford to stay the full week. Please." I read it once. Closed the app. Didn't even bother to reply. That night I blocked every one of them. And I swear for the first time in my life I slept without grinding my teeth. By the time I woke up the next morning, I had over 30 missed calls from random numbers. My mom, my stepdad, even one of my sisters tried messaging me through an old Instagram account she hadn't used in 2 years. The desperation was seeping out of every attempt. Fake apologies, guilt trips, half-truths about how it was all a big misunderstanding. None of them admitted what they did. Not one person said the words, "We canceled your ticket on purpose. We didn't want you there." Because if they did, they'd have to admit that everything I felt growing up was right. That the distance I always felt from them wasn't imagined. That the way they treated me, like an obligation not a daughter or a sister, had always been real. Jess and I went horseback riding along the coast that morning. I barely touched my phone. That afternoon I saw a photo my youngest sister posted. A group selfie. They were trying hard to make it look like they were having fun, but the background gave it away. The cracked wall. The dusty fan. A small twin bed jammed into a corner. No one was smiling like they meant it. I didn't screenshot it. I didn't send anything back. I just let them sit with it. Later Jess asked me what exactly happened at the airport. I hadn't told her everything. So I did. I told her how I gave them all the money, trusting they'd book the trip properly. I told her about waking up excited that morning, packing my bags like a fool and standing at the gate thinking some airline employee made a mistake, only to find out they did. I told her I watched them board without even glancing back. She didn't interrupt me once. When I was done, she said if you had answered their calls, they would have walked all over you again. I knew she was right, because that's exactly what always happened. They crossed the line, I forgave them. They messed something up, I cleaned it up. It was a loop I didn't know how to break, until they did it for me. When they hit cancel, they also canceled every excuse I'd ever made for them. I wasn't going back. That night, I unblocked the group chat, just for a moment, and sent one final message. This trip cost me everything. Now it cost you too. Don't ever contact me again. Then I left the chat for good. I didn't check to see what they said after. I didn't care. 3 days before their return flight, my aunt, the only person in that family who ever treated me like a human being, messaged me privately. I hadn't even told her what happened. She already knew. She asked if it was true. That they'd left me behind. That they used my money. That they never even tried to fix it once they landed. I told her everything. She didn't reply for a while. Then she said she'd heard them talking about it over dinner weeks ago. Joking that I was too sensitive to handle being on a family trip. That I'd probably just complain or start drama. That it would be less stressful without her. Her words. Not mine. She said she didn't think they'd actually go through with it. Neither did I. But here we were. Apparently, the story was starting to leak through the extended family. People were asking questions. Wondering why only 4 of them went. Why I wasn't in any photos. My mom told them I got sick last minute and decided not to come. A full lie. My aunt didn't believe it. And when she found out they used my money to fund their trip and then left me at the airport like a forgotten bag, she stopped defending them. They had started running out of options. After I cut off contact, they tried messaging my friends. My cousin. Even Jess. They wanted someone, anyone, to convince me to book them early return flights. Said the place was unbearable and unsafe. Said they were struggling to get by. Said they were worried about the kids. And for the first time in my life, everyone around me finally said what I'd always been too afraid to say. That's not your problem. They wanted me to save them. But I remembered how easy it was for them to let me go. I thought about that moment at the airport gate. How no one looked back. Not once. How they acted like they were escaping something instead of leaving someone. Me. So I didn't reply. I didn't cave. I booked 2 spa treatments for me and Jess that day. Posted a picture of the ocean at sunset with the caption, "Peace looks better without parasites." I didn't even tag anyone. Didn't need to. By then the messages had slowed. The calls stopped. Even they knew there was nothing left to say. They'd gambled that I'd still be the forgiving one. But they were wrong. The message came in at 11:38 p.m. A new number. No name. Just a wall of text. It started with, "Please." Said they'd run out of money. The hostel kicked them out because they missed a payment. My mom was apparently sick, my sisters were scared, and they had nowhere to stay. Their return tickets were for 3 days later, and they had no way to cover the cost of food, transportation, or another place to sleep. They were stranded at a 24-hour fast food place using public Wi-Fi to message me. It ended with, "We know you're upset, but we're still family. Can you help us get home?" I didn't respond. I didn't need to. There was nothing left to say. But I kept reading the message over and over, letting the silence between each word stretch out. Letting it sit. The same people who looked me in the eye the morning of our trip smiled and said, "Let's go," only to turn around and board a plane without me. Now needed me. After erasing me. After spending my money. After laughing about how much easier the trip would be without me. They waited until they had no options left. And now they were pulling the family card like it was still worth something. I left the message on read. The truth is, they weren't stranded because of bad luck. They were stranded because they thought I'd always come through. They thought they could push me to the edge and I'd still find a way to carry them back. Just like always. They thought I was the same girl who said yes to everything, who covered bills quietly, who showed up even when no one asked her to. They didn't realize they'd buried that girl at gate 17, the moment they boarded a plane, and didn't once look back. I'd been holding on to the idea of family like it was a raft. But it was just an anchor. And I was done drowning. I stood up and walked to the balcony of our suite. The waves looked silver under the moonlight. Down below, the resort was still buzzing with music, Couples walking on the sand, kids splashing in the pool. Jess was asleep inside, one leg kicked over the blanket, sunburnt and smiling even in her sleep. We had 2 more full days in paradise. No alarms. No drama. No pretending. I picked up my phone again, stared at the message a final time. And then I deleted it. No goodbye. No more chances. Just gone. In the morning I posted one last photo. Me and Jess on jet skis, sun hitting the water just right. No caption. Just the location tag of a different island than the one they were stuck on. I turned off notifications. Permanently. That trip was supposed to be a reward for surviving another year in a family that never felt like one. Instead, it became the end of pretending. The moment I stopped trying to belong somewhere, I was never really welcome. They got their vacation. And I got my freedom. They wanted to leave me behind? Fine. I just made sure they stayed there.